T minus 30 seconds. T minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. It's a depression. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. We know the air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. My life has value.
Good afternoon, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Global Watchman News. My name is Laurie Swan. I hope you guys are all doing well. If you're in the live chat, we do ask to keep it family friendly. There will be moderators in there to make sure that we stay within the terms of service put forward to us by the platform we're utilizing tonight. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Take and hit that subscribe button, hit that bell, so you know we go live. So I'm here with my partner in crime.
You just let it out the bag. Now they're going to come get us now. Thanks, Laurie.
See?
Snitches.
How are you tonight?
I am blessed and I'm relaxed. How are you doing tonight?
I'm okay. I'm good. So, yeah.
See, there's a difference between okay and good.
I'm okay. I'm okay. Yeah.
Just okay?
Yeah.
Final answer?
Final answer.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. She's okay, guys.
She's okay. I meant to do that. I'm okay. I'm all right. I'm okay. So, yeah. So, sorry we didn't come on last night. It's been a tough 3 weeks. Dave's finally back to work. Finally back to not 100%, but he's He's doing a lot better. He's at, I'd say, 95%. So yeah, thank you all for the prayers and the messages and everything. So yeah, whew, it was a rough 3 weeks.
That definitely has.
Glad that's over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On a new, more pressing things, and I'm pretty sure we'll be facing some more trials and tribulations as
I'm sure
days unfold.
I'm sure. So just we get a little bit of reprieve, and we get ourselves armored up again, and then we wait for the for the next shoe to drop, so to speak. So
we forgot something.
What?
All praises to the Most High God, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. We thank you for giving us the breath of life and providing us with a platform to spread your message and serve as watchmen for you to the masses, so we can deliver what you want us to deliver tonight. And we thank you, Heavenly Father. We are in awe of your grace and your love and your mercy. We thank you.
Amen. Amen. Yes, definitely all praises to the Most High. I think we kind of lose sight sometimes when things are going so well. We forget to thank Him for that. And we get that. When things get bad, we're just like, we go to Him for help and for comfort when things get bad. But I think we need to remember that we need to give Him praises every single day, whether it's a good day or a bad day.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So last night we were going to talk about, well, you know what? Actually, let me. I had a surprise phone call yesterday.
You sure did.
I did. I had a phone call from a Mr. Fritz Springmeyer. Fritz called me yesterday. I was not expecting. I was sitting here. I just poured myself a bowl of cereal. I was sitting down to dinner. And I have had Fritz's phone number since he lived up in Oregon, since back in 2013. And didn't realize that I still had his number in my phone. And I'm sitting here, and I just go to take a bite of my cereal, and my phone rings. And I look down, and it says Fritz Springmeyer. And I pick up the phone. I was like, Mr. Springmeyer. He goes, Mrs. Alexander. I said, well, it's not Alexander anymore. He goes, I know. He said, so we had a very good conversation. And he's going to be coming on with about the next month or so to talk with us. He's got so much he wants to put out there. His Facebook was hacked in May of this year, 2022. So he hasn't been on Facebook at all. But and then after we got done talking, he sent me some pictures of his beautiful chill. Oh my God, his kids are gorgeous. He's got 3 little boys, Joshua, David, and Joshua, David. I always forget the other one. Last second. Fritz, where is he? Joshua, David, and John. Some powerful names for his babies.
Very good names.
Yeah.
Biblical. Strong. Biblical.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, we'll get to find out, Hugo, what he feels about it. I don't think he's liking too much of the things that are going on by our conversation. So, but you'll have your chance to speak with him live here within the next month or so. He was off work. He was sick. I could hear it in his voice, and but he's going back to work now. So, like he says, he's got 3 kids. His oldest is 4 years old, and 4, 2, and then a baby. And so, family comes first, and that's what we tell. It's for all of us, for Ernie, myself, everybody that's our guests. Family comes first. We work around people's schedules, so that's what we're going to do with him. So,
yeah, we're missed a lot over the past week or so. I know we've been talking about Tartaria and all the inner workings behind that. And while we were sleeping, there's a ton of stuff that's going on.
Yeah. Yeah, lots of things. Like I said, we were going to talk last night about the sun. Have you guys? I know you guys. You guys are awake. You guys are so into or onto the things that are happening around you. How many of us have been saying for years, the sun doesn't look right. It's not the same as it was when we were kids.
It's more of an orange to darker orange color. You really start to notice it at sunset.
Yeah, well, at high noon, it's white.
Mm-hmm.
And the colors do get more vibrant as the night goes on. I don't know if that's from the sun necessarily, or if that's from the pollution in the atmosphere, or the things that they're spraying in the atmosphere. But the sun has been doing some pretty crazy things. So I wanted to start out tonight with talking to you guys starting right back at the beginning. And by the beginning, I mean at the book of Genesis, chapter 1, where it says, "In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And God said, 'Let there be light,' and there was light. And God saw the light, that it was good. And God divided the light from the darkness. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day." That verse right there tells us, and God saw the light, and it was good. The sun was created to sustain life on this planet, in this realm. God created it not to destroy us, not to destroy the planet, but to sustain us. So when we see all these things about global warming and about how things are taking place in the atmosphere, blah, blah, blah. And, it's don't go out in the sun because you're going to get skin cancer and all these things. It's nothing but a lie, because that's not what God created the sun for. He created it to sustain life, not to destroy it. What do you think about that?
Well, we do require the sun to have life. The absence of the sun, the world would be inhabitable. We look at Jupiter, and how cold it is because the sun doesn't really shine in that planet. Here on Earth, it provides us with vegetation. It provides us with warmth. It provides us with all the vitamins and nutrients for our plants to grow, so we can eat. That it is pretty much the focal point of our entire ecosystem.
Yeah, without it, we would have nothing. Without it, the planet would die.
Right.
Literally.
That correlates to the Son of Man as well. Without him, we wouldn't have anything. We will be dead spiritually. God, as we discussed a few times in the past, that the entire Bible is giving us stories about the Son of God.
Right.
And it just goes to show you how everything is correlated with him. And God provided us with the sun for us to be able to sustain physically. God provided us with the sun, SON, to sustain us everlastingly.
Spiritually, exactly. And to hear the powers that be talking about how the sun, SUN, is dangerous for us, and we have to be careful of our exposure to it. It kind of correlates again with them saying, Christianity is bad, it's not good for you. It's kind of interesting how that correlates right down the line.
Well, they always say that about not only with Christianity, but we're looking at foods as well. Remember the whole egg and milk debate?
We had so many food
from
debates.
eggs have too much cholesterol. Now the incredible edible egg.
Correct.
How milk wasn't good for you. Now got milk.
Yeah, exactly. And we've gone down the line with they did that with butter. They've done that with beef. They've done that with red wine. They've done that with beer. They've done that with basically everything. They don't want us to eat it, and then all of a sudden it's good for you. And but the sun lately has been doing some pretty crazy things. And in the Bible, I'm just saying,
she's typing, y'all.
I am, because
We don't want her head to explode.
In the Bible, and I cannot pull up the link right now because but the Bible says that the sun, in the last days, we'll be seeing signs in heaven. The sun will be doing things, and a lot of us believe that the Bible, it says that the sun might be bouncing around a little bit, and it might be doing things in the sky that is odd. Let's just put it that way. Are we seeing those things coming to play right now? I'm going to play something for you guys. And let's see.
Blood red sky showed up in New York City on September 29th. Take a look at this stunning view. It was almost as if the sun just pulsed and got brighter. It was almost as if the sun just.
To see that? Mr. MBBB333 actually talked about this as well. This is not his channel. This channel is this video is from JW TV show. I'll put the link in the description for you guys at the end of the show. But Mr. MBBB333 also talked about how the sun was, not just this time, but several times over the past several months, people have caught it on camera as pulsating. What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, obviously, that's something that the sun is not supposed to do.
Right.
It's not supposed to be a straight light. Yep. I mean, I'm not an astrophysicist or a chef, but that sun ain't supposed to do that. But look how his videos like hovering with the sun hovering over the Statue of Liberty. It looks like. So, I mean, that's kind of symbolic right there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Let's watch this again. Look at it pulse. Woo! Look at that. That's not normal, y'all. That is not normal. I don't care where you are, who you are, but it's not normal. But are we looking at something that is brought on by the Most High, or are we looking at something that could be artificially manipulated? We know that Satan likes to counterfeit everything that God has created. And who's to say he hasn't counterfeited in some way, shape, or form the sun?
That is definitely a good question, especially when Gil Bays is trying to develop a way to block the sun.
Yeah, well, yeah, block the sun, exactly. I'm going to show you guys a picture. This has been going around the internet, not just this one picture, but it's been quite a few. Again, if you follow Mr. MBBB333, you'll know that he has put this on several times. People have sent this, several different people have sent this image to him, not this same image, but an image that looks like this. But a lot of people have been seeing this round black circle in the middle of the sun, which leads me to believe that they are doing something to manipulate and artificially change the sun, I guess you might say.
Well, yeah, I mean, absolutely. When we're looking at what China already did, which we're going to be discussing here relatively soon, it doesn't put it past me that what Gil Bays was already talking about wasn't already done.
Right. Well, doing some research, I came up with something, quite a few things from back in the 1950s. I'm going to pull this one up, put it on our full screen here for us. NASA patents artificial sun in the 1950s to be used as Nibiru. There are a lot of channels on YouTube. There's a lot of posts on social media, whether it be on Twitter or whether it be on Facebook or Instagram, of people claiming that they see Nibiru in the sky. Now, if you don't know what Nibiru is supposedly the planet of the Anunnaki. It's supposed to come by Earth every 35,000 years, I believe. It's supposed to be where they come and the Anunnaki come back and mine the planet for gold. If you follow the Sumerian tablets, you'll find out a lot about the Anunnaki, Anki, and his soldiers there. And if you follow the History Channel and you hear about the ancient astronaut theory, they will tell you that the Anunnaki were responsible for early man, which we know that's not true. But back in the 1980s, did you know, Ernie, that President Reagan signed a declaration along with Putin and several other world leaders that made it illegal at the time for the news channel to speak about Nibiru?
I've heard that quite a few times over the past few years.
Yeah, he made it. They all signed a declaration. It reminded me of the Antarctic Treaty, to tell you the truth. You know, it's hard to get
when they sign documents like that, you have to ask yourself, what are they hiding?
Yeah, exactly. Because you don't get countries like, I mean, we're talking back in the 1980s. The Cold War was still going on. And yet you've got the United States and I think it was Gorbachev at the time. So Reagan and Gorbachev were signing this treaty talking about Nibiru. Yet it was at almost the height of the Cold War. Well, towards the end of the Cold War, but still it was during the Cold War. It says patents from the 1950s to the 1960s, NASA and other contributors are deep into advanced technologies well beyond what they show us. There is much more going on than we can imagine. Some of these patents are decades old. Anti-gravity tech has been around since the late 1800s. Delve deep into the patents on artificial sun, levitation, anti-gravity, and anything you can think of, and look below at all the other related patents, mind-blowing inventions you ever could imagine, and some several decades old. If some of these work, we may be fooled by simulations, simulators, anti-gravity orbs, text, etc. I think I have this one pulled up. Hold on just a second. 187. Just let me see. No, I don't. Let me get this for us real quick and I'll drop this.
While you doing that, I just want to say something. When you look at the date in the late 1800s, so you got to remember that they've been perfecting all of this stuff not since the 1800s, but well before then. You're talking about thousands of years of fallen angel technology at their disposal to be able to do that. And I mean, you see a lot of theories going about on the internet and in certain videos that you see on YouTube and TikTok about how we are living in a simulation. Well, what the purpose of a simulation is provide fake things in front of us to show it as reality. So if the devil is going to be deceiving you, what better way to do that than to create a fake society with a fake atmosphere, fake sun, fake seasons, and all that other stuff? Because he does have a way to counterfeit things, and he also has a way to reverse things to appear as normal.
Exactly. When I thought it was also interesting that we're talking about levitation, anti-gravity, artificial sun patents back into the 1800s. We couldn't even put an airplane, supposedly an airplane, in the sky, and yet they're talking about things up in space in the 1800s, and yet they want us to believe that there was no reset in the 1800s.
Exactly, Red Pill. I mean, we seen the hieroglyphs of spaceships.
Yeah, absolutely. We showed them last week.
So I mean that is completely proven as a farce.
Yeah, absolutely. It goes on to say the 1960s NASA sun simulator, nicknamed STAR, was for an environment test chamber right here on Earth to simulate the sun found in space with ongoing all the strange events in our space. We could only imagine if they are simulating certain environmental conditions of outer space, like an artificially created sun. The strange name STAR could refer to the blue star Kachina, harbinger of the approaching red star Kachina, also called the red planet in Nibiru. It is possible to hide the blue star Kachina by placing an optical illusion. If you're not familiar with the blue and red star Kachinas, those are the Hopi prophecies. And the Hopi prophecy says that when we see these things in the sky, that the end is near. Now, back in 2012, in December, we saw a meteor, or I'm sorry, a comet that many say was the blue star Kachina, and that was the comet Nissan. I don't know if you guys remember that, or Ison, which was, oh no, hold on a second. My battery's getting low in my mouse. So many people say that that was a precursor to the red star Kachina, which would be Nibiru. So in the ancient prophecy states that when the blue star Kachina makes its appearance in heaven, the fifth world will emerge. This world be the day of purification. Even though we cannot prove that NASA manipulates certain environmental conditions in outer space, like an artificially created sun, by using advanced technologies, without doubt, there's much more going on than we can imagine. Well, the blue star Kachina, we do believe, was Comet Ison, and that happened in December of 2012, which coincided with what? The end of the Inca, or the Mayan, the Mayan calendar.
Yep. And the cool thing is with that, I mean, everything is lining up. The Bible talks about us looking to the sky for the signs of Christ's return. So even though this is from like a different religion philosophy, they take this from the Bible. So there is a great amount of truth to it. And the fact that this has already occurred, they already been talking about Nibiru. They're already talking about creating an artificial sun, which I believe that is already in place right now. It all adding up to the point where we are reaching the end and we are living in the book of Revelations as we speak.
Correct. Absolutely. And you know, when you look at my husband, when you look at the science behind all of this, they have the capability now. They have the capability to make these things a reality. 1960s, NASA artificial sun, artificial moon, and Earth-like patents. Why would they be wanting an artificial moon as well?
An Earth-light. Well, if we looking at what the book of Revelation talks about, it talks about how the sun will be darkened and the moon will not have light.
Correct.
So they could be creating something artificial to be able to provide us with those things. But no, their power cannot match the Most High God.
Are you saying that they're preparing us for when Revelation, when it happens, that we lose the sun, and they're trying to do a good thing?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I just think they're using it to hide from what's actually happening.
Yeah.
To prevent us from going to the Bible to look for the signs and prophecies being fulfilled.
Yeah.
The masses will think it's a good thing, of course. But those who are covered by the blood of Jesus Christ will know that this is a bad thing for those who have sinned and not repented of them.
Correct. Margaret, yes, I'm old enough, but I do not remember it. Unfortunately, I don't remember it. Electric arc is awarded patent. Apparatus produces an artificial sun for space flight. You had brought up something very interesting before we went live. What did you say about electric arc?
Well, I always refer back to the Marvel movies because they have a high level of accuracy depicted in pretty much every movie that they created, or comic book rather, because the comic books came first. In the first Iron Man movie, you notice that Tony Stark, which is the main character who is Iron Man, created the arc reactor. Well, his dad did. Well, the thing is, he was able to create one miniature enough to put in his chest to repel any shrapnel from the explosion that he had when he was in the Middle East.
Interesting.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the Marvel comics are definitely, they have a lot of telegraphing in it. All of their movies do. I just think this is quite interesting, that this article, guys, is from June 13th, 1964 in the New York Times. And it was on page 27 in the New York Times on that day, July 13th, 1967, page 27. So it wasn't even big news. They had it buried inside of their newspaper, which goes along with what I told you guys about when they gave us the Wizard of Oz. I mean, it took us 40 years to be able to decipher what the Wizard of Oz meant, but it wasn't our fault that we didn't know. They told us, we just didn't know about it. Well, same here. They told us, but they buried it 27 pages into the newspaper. How many people do you really think saw that?
Not many at all. I mean, that's good old Kabbalistic doctrine for you.
Hidden in plain sight. You just got to know where to look for it. All right, let me pull up the next one. So let's go over some of these actual factual patents. These are patents. U.S. Patent 3247367A talks about a solar simulator. And the solar simulator, you can't see it over to the left here, but I did pull up a picture of what it looks like. Look at this.
Looks like a whole bunch of tinfoil hats.
It's like a whole bunch of lights. That's a whole lot of lights there. And if they put, so if you put all of these, think mathematics right now. And you have a bunch of circles, and you go to put them together. When they get close together like this, what shape do they form?
A hexagram.
Look at that. Kind of weird, huh? Could that be what we're seeing in the sky?
Definitely could be. I mean, low Earth orbit satellite filled with nothing but lights. Lights can generate a huge amount of power and heat, depending on the wattage. I'm not surprised they wouldn't be able to create something that would be able to heat a huge mass of land.
Global warming at its best, right there, huh?
Absolutely, and you can use it to target certain areas as well.
Exactly. Here we have another Google patent, CN 103-884-124A. This is a Chinese patent for a man-made sun device. We're going to get talking about that in just a minute. I just wanted to show you that they actually do have, this is patented. It's been in the news quite a bit in the last year or so. But in 2014, China applied for a patent, and they did receive it. Here's another one I'm going to pull up. Quite a few of them here. Here we got, this one is U.S. patent, EP 0913623A2. It's a European through the European Patent Office, so it's not U.S., it's a European. A large area pulsed solar simulator. Give me a second, I'm going to pull up this one. Here's another one.
Notice how all these patents are for the major countries of this world.
Mm-hmm. Here's another one. This is the United States one, US 3187583A. This is a United States patent for a space simulator.
Can you pull up those images, please? Look at that. What does that remind you of?
Sir?
It reminds me of CERN. It also reminds me of some of the technology from Tartaria that you use to put
Oh,
in
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 the
the
in the in the build in the windows.
Yep.
Yes, you're right. You're absolutely right. See if I can pull this one up. Hold on a second. Bella, stop running in the house.
Yeah, those all mimic Tartarian technology. So it didn't get washed away. It was recovered and kept.
Exactly. Let's see. Here's another one. It's a U.S. patent 3010220A, means for simulating certain environmental conditions of outer space. Not sure what these are. Just going to pull these up for us. And then we got one last one, which talks about space chambers. I don't know what that one is. We'll pull that one up. These were off of the article. These weren't the ones these are ones I went to look for while we were talking. This is still United States. This was back in 1960. Application filed by Schuler Auto back in October 4th, 1960. U.S. patent U.S. 3064364A for a space chamber. And that's the one I just showed you as well, looks like.
This is technology and patents from 60 years ago, guys.
Yeah, exactly, from 60 years ago. So when you've got, patents that they're utilizing now today, I mean, let's pull up, hold on a second. Let's pull back up the China one. I want to take a look at that in a little more depth. Here we go. This is a Chinese one. This is back up. They filed it. Application filed by Nanjing Four-Star Treasure Sen Environmental Protection Technology Company Limited. And they filed this March 14th, 2014. And there's literally no pictures from what I can see here. There's no pictures on this. So they filed it without schematics?
They can do that if they're doing the patents in their own country. If they are funded by the government themselves. So maybe it's a way they can get away with that.
Maybe. Yeah.
It could be top secret as far as the schematics go.
Well, let's talk a little bit about their schematics, shall we?
Absolutely.
Let's talk a little bit about China's artificial sun. It's been in the news quite a bit lately. 1 second. Hold on a minute. Before we go to China, let's go to Germany, shall we? Because before China, there was Germany. And this article is over 5 years old. It's from, I don't even know. There's no data. Hold on a second. Yeah. Thursday, March 23rd, 2017. And this says, let there be light. Germans switch on largest artificial sun. So the Germans were the first, even before the Chinese, to put on an artificial sun. German scientists are switching on the world's largest artificial sun in the hope that intense light sources can be used to generate climate-friendly fuel. Ernie, you had mentioned something very interesting just a few minutes ago when you said that these lights are generating a lot of heat.
Yes.
Wouldn't that be counterproductive when we're trying to fight and combat, and I'm using air quotes here, global warming?
Yes. I mean, if you look further down in that inscription, it talks about how hot it is. 10,000 times the intensity of natural sunlight on Earth. So when the Bible talks about the sun will give fire, scorching many.
Yeah.
I mean, it is written in the Bible based off of how they see things.
Correct. And if you're talking about the book of Revelation, it was how John perceived things. He was telling us things that he could only explain with the things that he saw in that were familiar to him. He couldn't exactly say, I saw a rocket ship go into space, because he didn't have that in his vocabulary.
Right.
So he says that he saw the sun, doing certain things. He had to put it in language that he only had a limited vocabulary.
So, based off that information, what we're looking at is some technology that can be used for destruction. When something is 10,000 times the intensity of natural sunlight on Earth, habitation that is in its vicinity will burn to nothing. You're talking about an apocalypse type scenario.
Let me ask you a question, Ernie.
Yes.
Could it be within the realm of possibility that these things are in our orbit right now, and these are the things that are causing global warming? These are the things that are causing the deserts to get. I mean, in the Middle East, they're getting up to 140 degrees, and sometimes water to evaporate would have to have intense heat. Could this be what we're looking at?
As I stated previously, it is a huge possibility that can happen, especially when it can be targeted to a single source such as water or a spot of land. Obviously, raising something up with that direct type of energy will cook things, if you will. It will boil things, and things will dry up. I mean, we're seeing that here in the United States, in parts of Utah and the Southern California, and obviously the Mississippi River as well.
Right. Well, exactly. Meg says, so if the sun is fake and all of the solar flares are fake, then the whole idea of the pole shift, sun blasting every 12,000 years, and catastrophic earth events that are orchestrated. Absolutely. There's nothing in the Bible that says that the sun goes through these stages. These flares, these solar flares, God did not create the sun to destroy the earth.
No.
He didn't.
And he did not create the sun to emit EMF frequencies as well.
Correct. So everything we're seeing, yes, is orchestrated to some degree. Absolutely. Satan, that's why I named the show Satan Counterfeits, because he does. Satan counterfeits everything. What God created the sun to sustain life, not to destroy life, but to sustain life on this planet. Satan has counterfeited a sun that just is destroying the planet.
I mean, think about it. Look at the rise of intense hurricanes that's been occurring over the past 5 years.
And what does that cause?
It's caused from warm waters. That is the driving force behind the growth of a hurricane.
And let me ask you a question, Ernie. If they were to direct this light into the middle of the ocean, there is not one person on land that would ever see it or ever know it, correct?
Exactly.
Right.
What they will see as a sun could be a DE weapon penetrating the ocean, raising it up to levels that you can't even think of. Yeah, Rick, you're talking about HARP as well. Mm-hmm. I mean, HARP is a frequency type of technology. It can also be used to manipulate and move things around, such as weather. So, using these types of limbs to generate the storm, using HARP to manipulate the storm to its objective, you got a perfect scenario to cause damage to particular parts of whoever wants it to be.
Exactly. I think it was back in 2017 when there was a hurricane that was hit Houston, and we watched Hurricane Harvey. I think it was, wasn't it?
Yep.
And we watched them use HARP on Harvey when it was in the Gulf of Mexico. We watched them pulsate on that. And as soon as they did that, it intensified and it headed straight for Houston.
And stayed there for days. Now, if you look at a jet stream, the jet stream has ebbs and flows. It's constantly moving. It's never It's never constant. So for a system like that to remain in place has to be done by force. Otherwise, the jet stream will pull that out into whatever direction the jet stream is going at the time.
Right. Yeah. So they are this weather manipulation, and it's not a conspiracy. Weather manipulation, we've known about it for a long time. Back when the Vietnam War, the U.S. government admits to weather manipulation during the Vietnam War. So what makes us think that they're not utilizing it in other aspects other than, just that one?
Right. And John F. Kennedy, I believe, talked about that as well.
Yeah, John F. Kennedy talked about a lot of things that he shouldn't have.
Obviously.
Obviously. Yep. All right, let's get out of here. I've got another one to pull up. All right, so we know that the United States has the capability. We know that Germany has the capability, and now we know that China has the capability. Now, China has been in the news quite a bit this year, talking about their new artificial sun. Everything we know about China's artificial sun. China's artificial sun broke clean energy records as scientists tout nuclear fusion as the ultimate energy for the future of humanity. China's nuclear fusion reactor has made headlines this month after producing an artificial sun that was 5 times hotter than the real thing. Our sun, our natural sun, is pretty damn hot, Ernie.
It is. It's very hot.
For them to tote that they can get it up to 5 times hotter than the real thing, what could possibly gone wrong?
Oh, nothing at all. Maximum sustainability.
The device broke world records after sustaining a nuclear reaction at 70 million degrees Celsius, which is 158 million degrees Fahrenheit, for more than 17 minutes.
And you wonder what kind of damage that it caused when it was deployed.
Well, for 17 minutes, okay, think about it, guys. Wherever they did this, wherever they tested this device, for 17 minutes, 158 million degree Fahrenheit heat was centralized in one location.
Now, this leads me to doubt that actually occurred, because something that hot would have destroyed the ozone layer in the atmosphere.
Well, you think it had some detrimental effect on the upper atmosphere, just like HAARP. But and this is just a hypothetical kind of thing, but we've been seeing a lot of okay, light puts out frequency, correct?
Right.
And we've been seeing a lot of things happening, strange things happening over the course of the last few months. Now, when China first started this was back in January of 2022. So this is going on a year. So this is 11 months ago that this has happened. And in that time, we've been seeing things that are happening. The Schumann resonance is acting weird. I mean, literally the heartbeat of the planet sometimes is stopping. We're seeing 300 birds just fell out of the sky yesterday here in Illinois, dead. We've got sheep, we've got reindeer, we've got cattle, we've got ants, we've got those ants going around in circles. We're seeing rats attacking people worldwide, like unprovoked attacks. Like a woman walking down the street and a rat running up on her and attacking her. She beats it with her umbrella and that thing still comes at her. So these things are having an effect on the Schumann resonance, which in turn is having an effect on the animals. How soon do you think it's going to be before that translates and starts affecting humans? Think of these animals, their behavior right now. Think of that as the parakeet in the mine. When the parakeet dies, you know that you're next. That's what I see this as.
Oh yeah. We're definitely going to be next. All I got to do is turn it up.
Well, I don't know about you, but I'm not liking any of this.
I'm not either. But I mean, I go back to the word. This is going to happen, and this means the day of our Lord is coming quicker.
Yeah. Parakeet or canary. Did I say parakeet? Canary. You're right. Yeah, it's coming quick. I mean, they are definitely ramping things up.
Here's the thing, though. Throughout times, everybody say, "Oh, this is the end of the world," and people will deny it. Even up until now, when people like us talk about the end of the world, people still deny it. But if you really research the Bible and all the signs and wonders, okay, yeah, it may be events where there may be a false Christ that came on the scene and was supported by most, but not all. But if we're looking at physical signs that we can see, such as stuff like this, that has never occurred really in history, there is no question that we are living in the last days.
Correct. I don't see any other way to decipher what we're seeing other than that.
It's this type of stuff that leaves us speechless, and we're not ones to not be able to talk.
And that's the truth. Yeah. I mean, I'm sitting here looking. I guess I'll pull up the next one. I have quite a few ones here on China. There's another one. China's artificial sun just broke record for the longest sustained nuclear fusion. Here we have it again, 126 million degrees Fahrenheit for 17 minutes. Again, that's just unfathomable. Here's another one.
But what is the purpose when we have a perfectly working sun? No, when I mean perfect, it's perfect because it was created by the Most High God.
Correct.
What is their purpose of doing this?
Well, again, Satan counterfeits everything, and he uses it for nefarious purposes. So, if God created the sun to sustain life on this planet, then they've created this sun as a counterfeit to destroy life on this planet.
Right. But this type of technology can, if in the hands of good people, could be used for the betterment of mankind. But not creating the sun, using fusion energy to power our houses, to power our cars. The more natural, more environmentally friendly way of being able to produce that type of energy.
Right. Exactly. Mag Marie says, they are saying that the sun is ascending to 5D, and why is it stronger and more harmful? How does it even make any sense? It doesn't make any sense to you because it's not possible. The sun is perfect in what it is. And to say that it's ascending is another key flag word for something satanic. It's ascending. We're all ascending into a fifth dimension or a higher dimension.
New level of consciousness.
New level of consciousness. Yes. The new light, the new illumination, the age of illumination, or the awakening, or these are all words. Guys, if you listened way back when Robbie was still here, Robbie told everybody that there's going to be a counterfeit awakening, and it's going to be fake.
And it's going to be a counterfeit New World Order as well.
Correct.
Because there's going to be two. There's going to be the one that's going to be popping up very soon.
Mm-hmm.
And there's going to be the one where
that's going to be overthrown and make it look like Ah, they've saved us.
The man of perdition will appear on the scene to cure everything on the world, and then the real new world order will start for the 3.5 years.
Natural sun would be healing, not cancer causing. Exactly. You are exactly right.
Vitamin D3 is best when it comes from the sun. And vitamin D3 is essential for your immune system to function properly.
But they tell us to wear sunscreen. When you go out of the sun, put this chemical on you so you don't reap the benefits of the sun. Basically, that's what they're telling you.
Right. But people that may ask who have much fairer skin than I do, what about the sunburns? What about the peeling of the skin from excessive exposure to the sun? Well, if you're looking at all the aluminum and stuff that's in the atmosphere right now and it's reflecting on us, you're getting a little bit too much.
Correct. Yeah. Exactly. All the aluminum, all the heavy metals that they're putting into the atmosphere. Think of it as a magnifying glass. When you take the sunlight and you put the magnifying glass on a piece of paper, what happens? It starts on fire. So you've taken something good and manipulated it into something dangerous.
And that's what the devil does.
Yeah, that's what the devil does. Exactly. That's what he does. It's what he do. And then the last one here is this is from a scientific website talking about nuclear engineering international, talking about the sun. And this was just put out November 1st, 2022. And this goes into a little bit more detailed on what the sun, what the sun is. I get the hiccups. Talking about plasma current intensity is the key parameter of the tokamak, and the HL2M tokamak now boasts a plasma current intensity of over 2.5 megaamperes, and it is run smoothly under the conditions more than one. I don't even know. I'm not a scientist, but whatever it is, they're ramping it up. This breakthrough marks an important step toward fusion ignition and a nuclear fusion research and development in China. I don't know about you, but this kind of science is not going to be used for the improvement of humanity, no matter what government has it.
Exactly. When you put things in the hands of the government, it always turns out to be no good. I mean, look at the follow the science doctrine from the past couple of years.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. This is just another thing to fearmonger people, to keep us out of the sun, to keep us out of the healing benefits of the sun. When they tell us, don't stay out of the sun, put sunscreen on. Sunscreen causes more cancers than sunburn.
Right, because you're putting all that chemicals that's permeating through your skin and getting into your bloodstream.
Exactly. So let's see what else. I don't think I have anything else on here. If you Google fake sun, a lot of articles come up. Euro-Asian Times, Bloomberg, Foro Nuclear, Smithsonian Magazine, Guardian, World Economic Forum is even talking about the Chinese sun. And if the World Economic Forum is talking about it, yes, it's no good.
Right. Whatever comes out of their mouth, just put it in one ear and have it go out the other, because it's no good.
Exactly.
It's no benefit to you whatsoever.
No, it's for the reduction of the population. Somebody mentioned this earlier about solar flares. When you go look at the the Soho. Let me pull it up. Soho Sun Images. See if I can pull it up.
You know, it reminds me too of not the very first Spider-Man series from Marvel. I think the second one, where Spider-Man was going against Doc Ock, and purpose of the tentacles on Doc Ock was to be able to contain the sun, to be able to use it as energy, using a form of metal called trinium.
Well, that's interesting.
Very interesting. I am sorry, guys, but there's so many references to Marvel. It's not even funny. And I was a huge Marvel fan. I'm still a little bit am, but not as much as I used to be.
Exactly. You go on to the Soho NASA. Here we go. This is the Soho Solar and Heliospheric Observatory. You can actually, hold on a second. You can go over to, what is his name? Give me a second. He's over on YouTube, and I am subscribed to him, and his name. Okay, I'm not subscribed to him on this channel. Let me go to my other one. Pretty sure.
Don't forget, we'll put all these links in the description too, so you guys can check it out for yourselves. Obviously, we want you to do your own research on this topic for tonight, but things are getting real, and this is just another wheel in the cog.
Yes, exactly. Suspicious observer. His name's Ben. And if you go over on Ben's channel, let me pull it up real quick. Go over on Ben's channel. Every morning I used to, for years, I would start my day off with Ben. He comes on here every morning and he talks about the sun and about the solar flares and about the things that are going on with the sun. And space weather. Let's see if this is the one that I used to follow. You can see the actual live stream of the sun, and you can tell what the sun is doing. Here we go. This is the one. So he goes on and he's got all of these things that you can look at. Look at what flares. You can see where they're going to hit. You can see where they do hit or increase in earthquakes. To me, they're manipulating the sun. I believe, this is just my opinion, but we have the technology now to make people believe that the sun is responsible for these things. So now let me ask a question. Hypothetically, if the sun were to release an X-class flare, okay, that would wipe out low orbit satellites, and that would essentially, it would be the Carrington effect from back in when that happened. The Carrington effect wiped out telegram and all of the electricity. I mean, essentially, if the Carrington effect would happen today, it would put us back into the dark ages. We would have nothing. It would be like an EMP going off around the world. They have the technology to make people believe that is what's happening. They have earthquake machines. They have EMPs. They have all this technology to make people believe that an X-class flare has hit the earth and now we are back in the Stone Ages, when in reality they did it. Now let me ask you another question. If they do that, do they have the ability to concentrate it in one place? Or by what I mean is, we know that they're underground. We know that they've built these underground cities. They've built these underground bases. If they put us into the Stone Age and they're protected underground, what advantage does that give them against us?
Well, since we all know they're using fallen angel technology, that technology is underground, and they've been sitting on stuff for quite a long time, generations upon generations, and I firmly believe that they have ecosystems developed underground in which they have their own artificial suns and ultraviolet lights to be able to keep generating flowers, crops, livestock, to be able to sustain themselves for the next 1,000 years.
Yep, exactly.
But what they don't understand is when the Most High comes back to claim his throne, they will try to flee and hide, but they will be found and they will be dealt with accordingly.
Exactly. The book of Revelation says that they will flee. They will flee underground. They will flee to the mountains. They will seek death and won't be able to find it. Absolutely. Can't hide from God, no matter what you do.
Yep.
You may do it behind closed doors of your own home. You may do it in the dead of night where nobody sees you, but it's not just you. It's you and God. He sees all.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And they know their end is near. They have to know. These people know the Bible better than us.
Mm-hmm.
But yet they choose to follow a broken path that leads to a dead end.
Ego.
All there is to it, ego.
I believe that ego is the strongest thing, the most intense thing that separates a person from salvation is their ego. You have to accept the fact that you are not all it. You cannot do it alone.
Narcissism and pride goes
Narciss-
hand in hand with ego.
Absolutely, it does. Absolutely. So I thought this was going to be a longer show tonight, but
Well, we still can talk about yay.
oh, God. Kanye, what is up with ye?
It's yay.
Is it yay?
It's yay. Yay west.
Yay
As in
West.
yay, we're heading west.
Yay West. I just don't I don't know about him.
Oh, it's somebody mentioned it in chat. It's a psyop. That's all it is. He's just a pawn in the chess game. Yeah, he speaks truth, but that's truth he's spitting, and the way he's spitting it is causing nothing but division.
Right. I don't trust him. I don't trust Musk, and I don't trust Jones.
Oh no, not at all.
I don't trust all three, and all three of them have been in the news quite a bit in the last, I don't know, 48, 72 hours.
Right. And if you are trusting a man that wears a satanic soldier shirt with a Baphomet emblem on the chest,
Oh, let me pull that
then your
up.
priorities are mixed up.
Right? Yeah, he is not your friend.
Not at all. They know dang well what that is.
It might be a Halloween costume, but come on.
It's just even them celebrating Halloween throws up a red flag.
Right? Pull it up real quick.
They're not. That person is not of the Most High. Is not bearing any good fruits whatsoever. Then they should not be followed. They should not be listened to. You just treat him as another person.
Yeah. I'm going to pull up. Let's look here. This is Elon Musk's, and I'm using air quotes here, Halloween costume. Heidi Klum. This was at Heidi Klum's Halloween party, and she's just as much of a freak as everybody else. I'm sorry, but she is. But this, look at this. Baphomet, upside down cross. I mean, what was he trying? What? Here's his mom. His mom's she's just as much of a freak. There's his mom right here. She's got the white and black hair. She looks like, what's that Disney character?
Cruella de Vil.
Cruella de Vil. The devil. Cruella Devil. Cruella de Vil. Yeah, that's what she looks like. He's not your friend.
Oh no, not at all.
Let me see if I can pull up Kanye. Now Kanye's been. We got to be careful talking about Kanye. Only because
they don't like our channel.
Yeah. You gotta be careful talking about Kanye because. Hold on a second. I got a cough. Oh, I'm getting my coughing spell again. Only because he's saying some things that have been misconstrued or construed or whatever you want to say it as anti-Semitic. So, hold on. I got a cough. I'm sorry.
And the thing is, with that terminology too, it's a very touchy subject in society. Oh, yeah. But we all know about it. And those of you who have known me and Laurie for quite a while know our thoughts on it. We're not going to say it out here because we want to keep this channel up. But all right. It's interesting on why you're doing that. And the fact that I think this type of person is giving the true 144,000 a bad name.
Yeah.
I think it's all by design.
The term anti-Semitic is a made-up term, just like the term conspiracy theorist. It was a terminology. It was a label that was created to keep people from questioning and to keep people from drawing the attention to the synagogue of Satan. Has nothing to do with the seed of Abraham.
No. And you said it, I didn't. So it's not my fault.
Yeah, I mean,
right, Deb. He is creepy. When he first came on the scene, back when I was a prepubescent, beer drinking, don't know where my life was going. Troublemaker. I used to love his music. I mean, because he used to really speak about truth, and I just noticed and watched him just go downhill.
Yeah. Well, isn't it interesting that a lot of these people who speak the truth, and when I talk about, I'm going to say Kanye West, and these are just people off the top of my head. Kanye West. There was another rapper, Bob.
B.O.B.
B.O.B. Even as far as Michael Jackson's daughter. What was her name? Paris Hilton or Paris Jackson. All these people start talking about things that are happening in Hollywood, the truth behind the curtain, and what happens? They get whisked away to mental institutions. Paris Jackson spent a couple of years in a mental institution because she started coming out and trying to say the things that her father tried to talk about. Michael Jackson was trying to put the truth out about things. He told his inner circle 2 weeks before he passed that they were going to kill him. He knew they were going to get him. So when B.O.B. and Kanye is another one who he started speaking the truth. And what did they do? Kim Kardashian, didn't she have him put into a mental institution, or was he went away for a little bit?
Well, it wasn't Kim. It was his handler, his trainer. He came out and showed proof that his trainer wasn't actually a trainer, but he was ex-Canadian military, their version of the CIA, showed text messages between Kanye and him talking about if he keeps talking like this, they will put him back in the mental institution, and he will make sure that they put him on enough pills to keep him sedated the rest of his life. Pretty much. I mean, I'm paraphrasing here, but
Correct. Well, you know what? And these are the people that when they speak, you need to listen to them because they are in that inner circle in Hollywood. And they, you know, they are, they do have privileged information. And I think sometimes somebody has mentioned way back, and I'm trying to remember who it was, but they had talked about how eventually, and I think this might have even been Fritz, when a person goes through the programming of the MK Ultra, through the SA, through the rituals, and they get these different personalities put into them. The alters, Eminem was Slim Shady.
Beyonce, which Sasha Fierce
was Sasha Fierce, yes. You've got all of these, they've all got alternate personalities, and they will admit that they have these alternate personalities. But every so often, and you see this with Britney Spears, we see it that day that she went, and I'm using air quotes here, crazy and shaved her head. What happens is the primary personality starts to break through, and that's the personality that has the soul. And when the soul starts feeling things that aren't right, it starts rebelling. And I think that's what we see on all these people. So when they start talking about things, and when Fritz comes on, he's going to talk about this. When you have these different personalities put into a person, they put one personality that is the kill switch. And he talks about it, and it's when they get thrown from the freedom train. And that's what happens with these people that don't fall into line. I really believe that if Kanye doesn't shut his mouth, he's going to be thrown from the freedom train.
Could be, or just taken off media spotlight. But it remains to be seen what they do. It's hard. I mean, yeah, he could be presenting a lot of truthful information, but we have to look at the fact too, it's all a part of the plan.
Correct. Yeah. So I don't really know. I mean, is he? I know that Alex Jones is playing a part. He's been playing a part for years. He's definitely COINTELPRO. He's a gatekeeper per se.
Right. So pretty much in a nutshell, eat the meat, spit out the bones.
Correct. With him, yeah. And you know what? Here's the thing: is with him, with Alex Jones, with what's his name, David Icke. Everybody cuts their teeth on that information. It's when you grow. Now, if you're stuck, like if you've been in the truth movement, if you've been in the truth for like 10 years and you're still stuck on what Alex Jones says, you have not moved on. You have not graduated in truth. He's where you cut your teeth and you move on.
Oh yeah, don't get me wrong. I still listen to him, but I eat the meat and spit out the bones.
You don't sit on his every word.
No.
I mean,
especially when it comes to his doctrine. No way. And he is as new age as they come. He talk about Christ, but he ain't talking about our Christ.
And that's another thing. When you hear these Hollywood stars talk about God, you've got to remember they're all Luciferians. When they speak of God, they're not talking about the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. They're not. Their God is completely Luciferian.
You'll get that more from combat sports than you will from Hollywood.
I used to have a website that talked about the correlation between sports and the numbers, how they come up with the numbers from people's jerseys, how they come up with the numbers of uh, just the way they put people on the field. It's all a ritual.
Oh yeah, it has to be. I mean, there's always a set method of how things are done in these types of games.
Yeah.
From how they enter to how they leave, they
Yep.
all enter and leave
Yep.
the same way.
Yep.
It's down to the player themselves.
Yep.
Like look at LeBron James, for instance, and how he does his pregame ritual with the
Yes.
baby powder, putting it together, spreading it up in the air. Then he does his hand signs with the 666 and the
Yep.
Illuminati pyramid. So
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. Exactly. They all have their rituals. Matter of fact, who's the New England quarterback?
Tom Brady. I mean,
Tom Brady.
they said
Tom
now
Brady.
ex-wife was a witch.
She admitted she was a witch, and she admitted she did rituals before every time, before every Super Bowl. She did rituals.
Yeah.
She admitted that.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, I just I feel concerned about our youth because they look up to these idols, and that's what they are, idols.
Yeah, that's all they are. And God warns us about worshiping idols.
Yes, it does.
We look
And
at
I
the
think when
Israelites
people
when
think of
they
idols,
looked at Baal.
I think when people think of idols, they just think of statues. They're like, I don't worship Katy Perry. Really? Do you go to her concert and do you scream when she comes on? Are girls fainting? Are they trying to emulate her? Are they, are they dressing like her? Are they talking like her? Are they looking like her? Absolutely. If then that's an idol.
Yep. Becoming seduced by their spirit and just being overtaken by them. I mean, it's not just that type of those types of people. You look at it in the church, you look at it in the Christian music scene.
Oh.
There's tons of Christian artists that people would just go and just worship them.
Yep.
When they're behind the scenes yoking with, say, Satanists and non-believers and taking pictures with them, and people who have mega churches yoking with mainstream rappers and stuff like that, and just inviting them and being friends, buddy with them.
Well, look at Justin Bieber got caught up with, was he in with Hillsong?
Yes, he was.
Okay. And if you listen to he did an interview back after him and Selena Gomez broke up. She was pregnant, and he's convinced that they sacrificed their child.
Oh yeah, I believe it.
Mm-hmm.
And look what Justin Bieber is now.
Yeah. Yes, Richard, the Beatles. Absolutely. Look at Beatlemania. Look at the girls. They were swarming over them, and they were taking girls out on stretchers. They would pass out, and it's, what it reminds me of? It reminds me of these churches that, and I'm using air quotes here, when you're slain in the spirit.
We were looking at the charismatic movement.
Yeah, the Kundalini spirit that is big in these churches that are speaking in tongues and getting slain in the spirit and flopping around on the ground and trying to convince you that it's the Holy Spirit. It's not the Holy Spirit.
I don't know about you or anybody else in chat or those who are listening after the broadcast, but if anybody speaks in tongues to me, I immediately ask them to speak English.
Yes.
I refuse to have somebody speak over me in tongues.
No, me either. It does not resonate well with my spirit. I get very, it's not right. It's not right. Because I believe the Bible's clear when a person talks in tongues, there needs to be a translator.
Yes, absolutely.
There needs to be somebody there that when they get done or as they're talking is going to be translating what they are saying. And you never see that. And then when that happens, I get very uncomfortable. I almost get into a fight or flight situation where I got to go. I got to get out of here because it's just, it's not of God.
Oh, no, not at all. 9.9 out of 10. It's not.
when I was a child, back in the 1970s. So I don't know how many of you can relate to this or know who I'm talking about. There were several, and I'm using air quotes again, several healers that were going around. Benny Hinn, Catherine Kuhlman, were two of the main ones that my grandmother and aunt used to take me to all the time when they would come to Buffalo. And they would buy the tickets. We would go and, come on up and get slain in the spirit and accept Christ. That's all good and great. But I was seeing things that didn't set right with me. My mother, who was handicapped, she was paralyzed, not totally paralyzed, but mostly paralyzed from the neck down. She had some movement only because her spinal cord was connected with, like, say if there was 100 strands, hers was connected by 3 strands. So everything that went from her brain to her limbs and stuff took longer. And her feeling wasn't that great. And I remember my aunt and my grandmother saying that we're going to go see Catherine Kuhlman. We're going to get your mom healed tonight. And they took my mom up there. And my mom took 3 steps. And they were like, she's healed. And my aunt took my mother's wheelchair and wouldn't bring it back to her. And my mother was stuck at home for a week. And I was calling on the phone, begging them to bring her wheelchair back. That she couldn't move. She couldn't do anything for herself. I was doing everything for my mother, because they were convinced that she was healed. She wasn't. And if it was from God, she would have been. And it would have stuck. It would have stuck. It wouldn't have been a temporary thing. You know what I'm saying? So
absolutely. But dang, we have similar stories. We talked about our moms.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. That's that. I went to one of those types of churches before and realized, it's not for us. And then we didn't go for church for years until we found this church.
Speaking of Kenneth Copeland, hold on a second. I sent you a video the other day and I asked if you had seen it. I'm going to pull it up real quick. Hopefully I can find it. Here we go. Let's see if I can find it.
We send each other so many videos.
I know we do. Kenneth Copeland drank blood in a ritual live on TV, or live on TV, I think it was. Hold on a second. Let me.
Yep, that's it.
Crap. Hold on a second. I'm sorry. This is another one too. I gotta get a new battery for my mouse.
But I wanted you to see it. I wanted you to see it. Now, so this is your cup.
Yes, sir.
This is my cup. So put it in there. Okay.
That's the cutting of the covenant. And then I would do the same.
Jesus said, take this cup. This is my blood of the new covenant.
We mixed our blood.
Which is his and which is mine.
And we could never separate.
You can't separate that.
you, sir. We'd just like to ask you about why you don't want to fly commercial. Why have you said that you won't fly commercial? You said that it's like getting into a tube with a bunch of demons. Why do you think that?
Here's how Inside Edition's chief investigative correspondent Lisa Guerrero interviewed televangelist Kenneth Copeland.
They are some of the most popular and flashy TV evangelists in the country.
When we decided to do this interview, we were aware of his schedule.
Have anything to do with people.
You're a very wealthy man.
Yes.
Yeah. And some people would say that is it appreciated wealthy man?
Yes.
He just looks evil, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
Is it appreciated?
May I add something to that? My wealth doesn't come from offerings alone.
Because you sell things, books and DVDs.
Yes, and I have a lot of natural gas on our property. Didn't know that, did you, babe?
Now I do.
Yeah.
Questions. If I were to get defensive or, say something back to him that would have been ugly, then maybe he would have gotten into his car and driven away. Because I wanted him to.
I'm sorry, but that man looks demonic.
He does, like 100%. When I saw that the first time, I was creeped out.
Yeah, he's definitely creepy. Yeah, he is. I can't even. Man, yeah, that man is wicked evil. Be careful where you put your trust. Be careful where you go for sustenance. Be careful. You would not go to a restaurant that served rotten food, would you?
Heck no.
Think of that as sustenance, as food for your soul. Why, if you're not going to go to a restaurant that serves rotten food for your body, don't go to a church that's going to serve up rotten salvation for your soul.
Yeah, that is correct. I mean, you gotta look at the fruits of their labor. You gotta use discernment. You gotta test all things.
Exactly. I always say that if your pastor's not telling you the consequences of your sin, and he's justifying your sin, you're in the wrong place.
Absolutely. Our pastor's final sermon at our church, he talked about putting your trust in man. You put your trust in man, you will get nothing but disappointment.
Every time. Because what man is built, look at this, okay? Think about it this way. Look on the earth right now. Everything, all of our buildings, our structures are all man-made. And over the course of history, they all fall. It all gets destroyed. But nothing built on Christ will ever be destroyed. Anything God has built for that purpose will never be destroyed.
I mean, look at this man and the blasphemous activity that he did in that video. He freaking cut his hand, put blood in a cup, and called that the new covenant as if he is the Most High.
Correct.
How dare he say that?
Whether he did cut himself or whether it was just for show, it doesn't matter. It's still what what the intent was. It was a ritual of intent.
Exactly. And how can you follow that man?
Right.
If you study the word like you're supposed to, if you profess yourself to being a Bible believing born again Christian, why in the world would you surround yourself with filth such as that?
You lie with dogs, you get fleas.
He has a place in the lake of fire if he
Absolutely.
does not repent.
Yeah. And he's going to be responsible for each and every soul that is lost because of him. That's why, as watchmen, Ezekiel 33:6 clearly says that You know, if we don't blow the trumpet and we don't warn people, and one of those people dies because of us, their blood is on our hands. I take that very seriously as a watchman. I'm not going to sugarcoat something. I'm not going to lie to you about it. I'm not going to, make it. The Bible says that you can't take something dirty and make it clean. Only God can do that.
That's true. And I'm just disgusted with these so-called preachers professing themselves to be men of God.
Yeah, they're gonna have a lot to answer for. There's a lot of souls that are gonna be lost because of their false doctrine, for the doctrine of man that we're instructed. We're told about. Don't follow the doctrine of men.
Yep.
You know? And Yee or Yay or whatever the hell his name is, and Jones and all these other people who are gatekeepers and who are, not putting out the truth, are going to have to answer for a lot.
Right, because these people are leading millions and millions astray. I mean, Kenneth Copeland, he's not even the tip of the iceberg. He's at the bottom. There's all sorts of megachurch preachers, and look at Chrislam.
Yeah.
We've talked about this a couple months ago.
Rick Warren and Osteen actually Rick Warren is more so. He's the one that met with the Pope back in 2014 when he was in Philadelphia, and that was their main discussion point, was the creation of Chrislam, and it was going to be the mega churches that was going to tell the people. We've talked several times about FEMA pastors. FEMA pastors is a real thing. FEMA went into these mega churches and they trained these pastors to, when the time comes and FEMA gets put into operation as far as for the roundups, these mega pastors, in exchange for protection and in exchange for their families to not be taken to the FEMA camps, they will go into the churches and tell their congregation it's okay, it's good, it's safe, go with these people. Oh yeah, there's a huge video that Robbie and I did a number of years ago, several of them on these FEMA pastors.
Oh yeah. We look at people like Rick Warren, who authored The Purpose-Driven Life. That purpose-driven life is going to lead you straight to hell with his doctrine.
Yeah, exactly. There was a number of movies back in the 70s that were out regarding the rapture. And again, I don't believe in the pre-tribulation rapture. I believe in the pre-wrath rapture, two different things, which would happen at the final trumpet, when Christ returns to earth. That's when the dead in Christ first will meet him in the sky, and then the rest of the people that are alive will meet him in the sky. That is what I believe in the rapture. But in these movies, like I can't even think, back in the 70s, and one of the main things that always happened in every single one of these movies was that people, when the rapture happened, they would go to their churches, and the pastor was always there because he was left behind, and crying and sobbing and apologizing to these people, saying, I didn't do the right thing.
You're talking about the Left Behind series back in the early 90s.
2000, well, it started back in the 1970s with there was a movie called Thief in the Night 1 and Thief in the Night 2. It was a two movie series, but that was when I first got subjected to the rapture theory. And then yes, the books for LaHaye. And let me I did an article on that. I don't know if did I show that one to you? Hold on a minute. Let me pull it up real quick. It is Left Behind. Here we go. October of 2014, I wrote this article about the Illuminati ties that Tim LaHaye had. Tim LaHaye was a co-author of the popular Left Behind series, which was gained popularity and has now hit the big screen. October 3rd, 2014 was the Nicolas Cage release. By now, you all heard about the Bilderbergs, the Trilateral Commission, the Council of Foreign Relations, and the Central Intelligence Agency, and of the conspiracy theories surrounding them regarding the development of the New World Order. Now, imagine for a moment there is something to this, and there appears to be no lack of documented material justifying these theories. That would mean that at almost every elevated level of business and government worldwide, men and women have infiltrated, become controlling administrators, and are working to effectively control every aspect of the life of this world citizen. One aspect of this has not been properly searched out is the religious connection. Surely, given that much of the world is religious and the currently resigning superpower nation in the United States predominantly Christian, then it would only make sense that these organizations have infiltrated the church itself and are also actively leading it into the New World Order as well. And I go on to talk about, now remind you, I wrote this in 2014. Another organization to fall under this umbrella is the Coalition for Religious Freedom, where again, Tim LaHaye held a paid position as chairman in the Women's Federation for World Peace, headed by Beverly LaHaye, which is his wife. And it goes on talking about the Council of 56. He was also involved in that. He's involved in the Bilderbergs. And then it says, Tim LaHaye co-authored the Left Behind series, the forerunner of the pre-trib teaching on the rapture. It's scary that most churches now hold this view and teach its twisting of scripture. I'm not going to take the side of rapture theology, but this view is based on pure speculation, fantasy, and twisting of scripture. I personally have done extensive research on this subject, and above all, I read my Bible. The big cheese here is that this view is setting people up for a massive deception and disappointment because it holds the view that Christians will be taken away before the big bad tribulation. What will happen when the rapture doesn't occur after the world goes to pot is people will be doubting their faith in Jesus Christ. Tim LaHaye is one of the people responsible for gathering all the theologians together to make sure that this was a view of the church, the view the church had. This view makes the church weak in the faith. I can go on for pages about this, but here is very shocking, revealing facts about this. All the significant production and release dates for Left Behind fall on major satanic holidays. There are 5 primary holidays in witchcraft and Satanism, and there are 4 majors and 4 minors. And I go on to doing this, and it talks about how they released this movie on one of these, May 1st, which was a Beltane. It says on May 1st, Beltane, the major satanic holiday, they began production of the movie Left Behind. 13 weeks later, on August 1st, which was another satanic holiday, they released the making of the Left Behind for sale. 13 weeks later, on October 31st, which is Samhain, they released the Left Behind movie for sale. 13 weeks from the date, on February 2nd, 2001, Candlemas, a major satanic holiday, they released the Left Behind into the theaters. So they lined up the release of every aspect of this movie to line up with satanic holidays. And I'll put the link in the description so you guys can read the whole article. But I wrote that back in 2014.
Coincidence?
I think not. Yeah. So be careful who you follow. And you know what? It doesn't hurt. When we go out and we buy a pair of sneakers, we do our research. I think we do more research to buy a pair of sneakers than we do to find a church we go to.
Or car.
Or car.
Or pretty much anything.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, if your preacher's not preaching that your sin is wrong and the consequences of your sin, and he's telling you it's okay because God wants you to be happy, get the frig out of there. Run fast, run far. Don't let the door hit you on the way out.
Or if you want to be like me and rebuke them on your way out.
Right. The last church we went to, they told David it was very confrontational. That's what they told him. You're very confrontational, Mr. Swan. You know that, right? He's like, why? Because I'm asking questions.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, my wife can attest how long it took for me to start really, really becoming an active member of my church. It took about 3+ years.
Wow.
I don't. I am very guarded when it comes to my faith.
Yeah, I'm pretty stable on mine. You can't sway me. I know the Bible. I know the Word. I know what's coming. I know what's expected of us. If I get that tingling in my spirit, something's wrong. I trust the Holy Spirit, and I trust the discernment that I have.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, final thoughts.
Always go back to fear. You know, with all this stuff that's going on right now, and all the stuff that we're experiencing today, whether it's on a personal level, or on a worldwide scale, you have to realize this is all according to God's plan. Um, God's will is allowing all of this to happen for a reason.
Oh,
He's allowing everything to happen so we, as believers, can bring other believers back into the tree of life and have their names written in the Lamb's book of life. And I know the stuff that we present can make a lot of people scared and be fearful of what's to come.
well, that's
But
not our intention.
we always have to refer to the word 2 Timothy 1 verse 7. For God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind.
Amen.
We
Exactly.
have to live by that. We also have to put on the full armor of God, explained in Ephesians 6, because the enemy's is his forces are cannot be withstood by us as men alone. So we must put on a whole armor of God, that from the head of salvation to the breastplate of righteousness, we always have to have that armor of God on.
Exactly. Yes, that's we do. And as times are getting further and further. I don't know if you guys are over on Facebook. If you follow Marcus Kaiser, he's been a member of our community for a while. I think it's time to have Mr. Kaiser back. It's putting out some pretty interesting information lately, talking about the times that we're in. And he's like us. He believes that 2020 started whatever this started this movement forward, and 2023 we're seeing the escalation. But I think in 2024 we're going to see the real trials and tribulations coming. Now, Marcus believes we are in tribulation. He can't tell us specifically why. It's just a feeling that he has, looking based upon his biblical knowledge and the world world events that are happening. But I think it's time to get Mr. Kaiser back on to talk to us.
Oh yes, absolutely. The last time we had him on, he dropped some truth bombs.
He did, and he dropped some things that had me kind of shaking my head and scratching my, going, yeah, that's not, I don't know about that. But in a couple of months after that, son of a gun, if the stuff didn't happen.
Right. And we always got to remember too, we're not living in the correct year.
Right. Exactly. We're not. The calendar has been changed. The Bible even warned us about that and told us, the times and the season they would change it. Satan would change that. I was thinking, I had to run some errands earlier today, and I was driving, and my mind was thinking, because I thought to myself, I'm like, when I first got sick this year, Dave got sick New Year's Eve. And I'm like, God, I can't believe that that's almost a year. Time has gone by so fast that it just floors me. I can't believe how fast it's going. And then I was taken to, the Bible verse that says that if it wasn't for time being shortened, there would be no flesh left. I'm going to ask you guys a question, because as corporal bodies, as fleshy bodies, we are bound to time. That makes sense. So if time was speeding up, would we even notice it while it's happening? Or would we look back at, like I just did on this past year, and go, I can't believe a whole year's gone by?
I think this is probably the fastest year in my personal lifetime.
Yeah, because we're bound by time. So if our clocks, because we're slaves to the clock, if our clocks tell us it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon, we have no reason to believe it's not. If we're sitting here, and I don't know how many times I've done this, but I've done like 2 things on my computer. I look down and an hour and a half has gone by.
Yep, look at this right now. We're approaching 2 hours.
I just looked at the clock. I just looked at our clock when I said, well, this time went by fast. We were at 54 minutes. I look back now, we're at an hour and 50 minutes. So an entire hour has gone by. So, but what I'm saying is because we're bound to the clock, our humanity is, we're bound to clocks. So even if time was sped up, would we even know it until we look back on it? Like we are now, going, wow.
It's a good question. I would love to hear everybody's thoughts. Posting in the comments below. Those who are listening later and those who are in chat right now, once this broadcast concludes, I'd love to see your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I would love to see your thoughts on it, because even if time was to be accelerating, like I do believe it is, we have nothing to show to help us. We would have no alarms going off. We would just have to take it at face value. Okay, an hour's gone by. An hour and 1 minute has gone by. I have no way to refute that. Neither do you, Ernie.
Right.
I have no way.
Look at it like this. You're on a roller coaster, right? You're ascending up to the peak. You don't know how fast and how deep you're going to go, but you have that harness on. So when you go down, you're protected.
Right.
Consider that harness as our Lord and Savior. We're descending at a rapid pace, but we have our Most High God to hold on to us through it all.
Yeah.
And keep us protected and grounded until we reach the end of the ride.
Right. That's a good way of looking at it, Ernie. It really is. Yeah. If you guys, yeah. Kristen says time is definitely sped up. Good witchy. Time definitely feels accelerated lately for the past few years. Yeah. It's crazy. Literally, I'm trying to look back on this last year, and it's like there's got to be missing time. There's no way it went this fast.
And I really think too that not only time has progressed a lot faster, but I also think there's been gaps in time.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean, like blackouts. Like, what happened here? What happened in the past 2 hours? Like, I physically cannot remember. Like,
it's interesting you say that, and we're going to wrap this up. But back in 2015, I believe it was, I'm going to say March, April, May, or June. I don't remember what month exactly. And I think I've told you guys this before. CERN had fired back up. It was a Friday night. And that was when myself, my 2 best friends, and my best friends were Nikki, and my best friend was David from, you guys know him as Around Saturn's Eye, David Bass. And the 3 of us were inseparable at that time. Talked on the phone with these guys from the time I got up in the morning to the time we go to bed. David would be like, I got to run real quick. I got to make a video. I'll be right back. And he, would come back. But the 3 of us, it was a Friday night. And my husband was home. And we went to bed with about 8 o'clock. And we fell into a deep sleep. Deep sleep. And we both woke up at the same time. And it was exactly 10 o'clock at night. I almost got out of bed and came downstairs to make coffee because I thought it was morning. David thought it was morning, my husband. We were like, well, that's pretty weird. So the next day, I called, got in the conference call with David Bass, around Saturn's Eye, and Nikki. And I said, did you guys have anything weird happen to you last night? And David said, well, nothing weird last night, but when I woke up this morning, I came out and I asked my parents where we were going for brunch, because they always went to brunch after church. And they looked at me kind of funny. And they said, David, it's only Saturday. He said, I swear it was Sunday. So there was a fluctuation, and that's not just the three of us. I have another a friend of mine who, out of the blue, like a week later, and she still talks about it to this day, and that was years ago. But a week later, she messaged me and she said, something weird happened. I think I lost time. And it was the same Friday that we had it. And that was the day, you can look it up, the date. It was the day that Saturn was closest to Earth in 2015. And it was also the day that CERN was online. They had fired it back up. So.
Interesting correlation.
Yeah, it was quite interesting. Dave or Diane, I understand that. I had a similar experience. Yeah, it was unnerving, to tell you the truth. I can't think of another word. It was very unnerving. It was it left me disoriented. That's the word. It was disorientating. Because I swore it was Saturday. And David swore it was Sunday. And Nikki swore that it was Sunday. She had the same experience. I forgot to say that she had the same experience. Because David Bass woke up and he said that he went out and asked his parents where they were all going for brunch after church. And Nikki got up thinking it was Sunday as well. She got up and put a roast in for her dinner. She makes a roast every Sunday for her family. She got up that early that morning and she put a roast in the crock pot, thinking it was Sunday. And they're both over in the UK. So, yeah, it was pretty weird.
Very weird.
So, all right, guys, we're going to end this now. I do want to thank everybody for joining us, everybody in the chat room, everybody that'll be listening afterwards. I want to thank our moderators, as always. Do want to remind you that we will be back on Wednesday with Big John for our regular Wednesday show. And we're going to talk about the technology that they had during the World's Fairs. I think that's what we're going to talk about. Wasn't that what we were going to talk about?
Yes, we were. And we kind of touched on that tonight.
Yeah. Yep. So, yeah, we're going to continue that on Wednesday. And, of course, if any news breaks between now and then, we always come on live, should anything. While we were live, before we went live, I saw that Kirstie Alley passed away. In case anybody didn't know that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 71. She passed away. Christine McVie passed away. Fleetwood Mac the other day. I thought that was quite a surprise, too. It was a shocker. So.
Who's the third?
Right. Yeah, well. All right. Okay, so as always, we want to just let you guys know that we don't put this information out to cause fear, to cause spiritual distress at all. We put it out there so that you can take the information, which all the links will be in the description area below, for you guys to do your own due diligence, to do your own research, test all things, study to show thyself approved. Do your own, come to your own conclusions with the information that we provide for you. It's not to cause fear. It's just to make sure that you are a well-educated person to make decisions between, for yourself and for your family and for your spiritual, I can't even talk, your spiritual well-being. So we would just want to say thank you for joining us. We'll be back on Wednesday. And until then, eyes open, no fear.